Hi, my name is Lori. I just wanted to share with anyone that is having issues or is newly diagnosed with transverse myelitis my story about it. A year ago, it was July 2017, I live in Arizona, or I'm from Arizona. I left California to go to Arizona to go visit my dad. And it's about 6 hour drive. By the time I got there, my feet were numb and I was like, it's like probably the long drive sitting down. So the day went on, I just started walking and walking. I'm like, gosh, my feet are they're sleeping. Like, I don't know what's going on. Tingling, really weird. So, the next day I woke up and it was to my ankles, and I'm like, that is just so weird. And then I was thinking, growing up in Arizona, we have a lot of scorpions, stuff like that, and I'm like, I wonder if I got bit, because the feeling is kind of the same. When you get bit by a scorpion, it's really a numb pain. It goes in your wherever it bit you, and it's really numb, really kind of a tingling. It's kind of the same feeling. And so I was thinking, gosh, I wonder if I got bit somewhere, like maybe when I stopped it. I couldn't figure out what was going on. So then the next day I woke up and it was in my calves, and I'm like, wow, it's like traveling up my legs. I'm really numb. I couldn't figure out what it was. And I was telling my dad, I'm like, I think maybe something bit me. It's like, I can't imagine what is going on. So then I was thinking, I suffer from anxiety. So I was thinking maybe it's an anxiety thing. It's making me feel this way. So next day when I woke up, it was all the way to my thighs. And it was traveling pretty quickly because I could feel my belly button still kind of getting numb. And I'm like, that's odd. I was thinking, should I go to the hospital in Arizona? I'm from a very, very small town. So I was thinking, I'm just going to take the chance and I'm going to drive home. So I drove all the way home, very uncomfortable, feet numb, not sure what's going on. Went to urgent care, and the line was pretty long. They're like, it's going to be like 5 hours. I'm like, I'll go home. And when I got home, I was thinking, oh my gosh, I work in an emergency room. I was like, and I work for Kaiser, so usually we take our employees pretty quickly through the line, to get it going. So I went to work. They got me in pretty quick. I saw a new resident. She was like, well, it could be probably because you sat so long going to Arizona. She's like, that's probably what it is. And I'm like, okay, well, by then I couldn't get comfortable. Like, my legs were just asleep, and it was a really odd feeling. So she's like, all your labs look good, everything is fine. She's like, I'll call neurology and I'll get back with you. So she forgot to call neurology, of course. So I was in the ER for like 2 hours, and then she came back. She's like, oh, I'm so sorry, I forgot. She's like, but I'll call him right now. So she called him, and they're like, well, you should probably do a lumbar puncture to see what it could possibly be. So working in an ER and seeing them doing it, I am not letting a resident do that to me. So I told her, no, probably not. I told her we need to, I told her, well, she's like, well, I'll just send you home. And she's like, it's probably just sciatic. So I pulled out my yoga ball, and I was going back and forth with my back, trying to get it, trying to, like, oh my gosh, what is going on? So, the days went by, like 3 days went by, and it was just really numb, and it wasn't getting better. So they're like, follow up with your doctor. I went to the doctor again, and he was like, well, it's probably you just pulled a muscle, and it's just some nerve pain, just keep walking, it'll go away. So in my mind, I'm like, okay, well then, like, that has to be what it is. I've seen 2 doctors now. Like, they don't think that it's going to be something that's so bad. So I was going to work, still going to work with my legs numb. I was going to work, I think it was my second day, and I was a breaker. I went to one of my coworkers and I was telling her, you know, would you like to go on your break? And she's like, how are you feeling? How are your legs? Because she knew what was going on. And so I was telling you, it's traveling still. It's just above my belly button. My legs are completely numb. And I was telling her, but I feel like it's still traveling. And she's like, oh my gosh. She's like, she's studying to be a respiratory therapist. And she was telling me, she's like, let me tell you a story about my mom. And she was like, what is it? What was it? Gam something. They're like, it just keeps traveling and traveling until it gets to your lungs. She's like, and eventually you won't breathe. And I'm like, I told her, Beth, do you want to go on your break or not? I was like, I really don't want to talk about this. I've already seen doctors. I know what's going on. And she's like, go break someone else. She's like, and then come back and break me. I'm like, okay. So I go to break another module, and here she comes, and she's like, Lori, she's like, I went and talked to one of the doctors for you. And I was like, Beth, I was like, I'm okay. She's like, please come. She's like, please come into the room and see the doctor. She's really concerned about what is going on. So on my way walking to go, it's like, fine. So on my way walking over there to my module to go be seen by a doctor that I work with, I was kind of really upset. I get into the room and the doctor comes in, and by then I had lost a shoe outside of walking into the door, and I didn't even know. That's how numb my feet are, because at work I wear slip-on shoes. So I walked in and sat on the bed, and the doctor comes in and she was like, okay, Lori, she's like, something is going on. She's like, do you think you want to put on a gown so I can check it out? I'm like, no. I told her, I've seen the doctors, blah, blah, blah. So she's like, she sat down and she goes, sit on the bed, and she comes close to me and she sits down and thinks, she's like, I know that you don't think that it's a big deal. She's like, but something is wrong. Something is really wrong. She's like, you don't have numb legs and it doesn't start in your feet and travel up. She's like, something else is going on. She's like, you need to be treated. She's like, please let me do an MRI. And if the MRI is okay, she's like, we won't bother you about it anymore. And I'm like, okay, fine. So put on the gown, even though I didn't want to. I'm like, at work, being a patient, that's just like one of the worst things that you can do, but whatever. So I put on my gown, she comes back in, she's like, okay, she's like, so I talked to MRI and they can take you. She's like, I'm just worried about it being, it's called Guillain-Barré. She's like, I'm worried about it being Guillain-Barré. She's like, Lori, that's very dangerous and you need to be treated immediately if that's what's going on. So I was like, all right, fine. So we go to MRI, I come back, and my coworker comes in, she's like, the results are back. She's like, but it's a lot of big words I don't understand. She's like, but, doctor will be in to see you. And I'm like, all right, fine. So she comes in and she's like, Lori, she's like, you have an inflammation in your spinal cord. She's like, and it's called transverse myelitis. She's like, and that's why you're feeling this way. She's like, we need to get you admitted immediately and started on some steroids. She's like, IV steroids. She's like, we need to do this for you so that you can start feeling better. She's like, but neurology will be here to talk to you about it. I'm like, oh my gosh, like, it's a lesion on your spine, and it's something. And then in my mind, I'm thinking lesion, like people have lesions all the time. I have no idea what transverse myelitis is. And I was thinking, oh my God, I have MS. Like, I was scared out of my mind. So then by then I'm pacing, and then one of my coworkers comes in. She's like, Lori, I just can't do an IV on you. She's like, I'm just nervous with being in here with you. I'm like, whatever. So another coworker came in. He started an IV for me, and I was admitted, and it was pretty intense from there. The neurologist came in after I was admitted, and he tried to do a lumbar puncture on me, and he couldn't do it. So I started getting anxious. So they gave me, what was it? They gave me, I forget. They gave me some kind of medication to calm me down, and I thought it was working. So I bend over again so that he can do the lumbar puncture, and he can't get it. So he's telling me, lay on your side and curl up in a ball. He's like, I'll probably be able to do it like that. So I can feel him, and the needle's in there, and he can't find it. And I just started flipping out. I was like, oh my gosh, get that needle out of me. You guys get away from me. Quit touching me. I don't know what's going on, but I don't want to do this anymore. And the nurse that was in there, she came to me and she was like, oh my God, what's going on? Like, are you in pain? I'm like, no, I just don't want anyone touching me anymore. I don't want to do this anymore. And she's like, here, let me give you your phone. So maybe you should call your husband and he can calm you, and I'm like, no. And I grabbed my phone and I threw it against the wall, and it was just a whole thing. Like, apparently I had an adverse reaction to the medication that they gave me. So they had to call in radiology the next day, and they had to do it through x-ray to do my lumbar puncture, and it was terrible. He lays me flat on my stomach, and he gets it in easy, but then he's like having me cough, and I can feel the spinal fluid like running down my back. It was pretty terrible. So, I mean, if you're going through this, I just want to let you know that it is a pretty horrific experience. Mine, I felt, was pretty bad. I know that some people's get really terrible. It was pretty terrible. So they take the spinal fluid, and luckily it wasn't MS. It was transverse myelitis. Like, they didn't see anything else, like no lesions in my brain from my MRI, or in any more spots in my back. So from then it was healing. So I had to be in the hospital for a week. They were giving me IV steroids for every day. And every time I get it, like, they'd start the IV, it felt better. It felt good. But then it was done, it went back to the way it was. So, my kid's first day of school was coming up, and I really wanted to be there. So I asked him, can I please just go to IV therapy, because I need to be in the hospital one time a day, because they just needed to give me that. So why can't I go to the infusion center and get that done? So they agreed. They let me go, and I was doing the outpatient IV infusions. When that was done, they had me on the oral steroids that, so many one day of the first few weeks, so many the next few weeks, as they kind of wean you off, which my feet were burning. Like, I couldn't walk, I couldn't stand, I couldn't sleep. It was pretty intense, pretty terrible. So my aunt told me about this stuff. It's called capsaicin. Like, this one's from CVS. Rubbing that on my feet actually took the burning pain away from my feet. The neuropathy, I think is what it's called, that was going on in my feet was pretty terrible. So, I mean, that was being rubbed on my feet constantly. In the beginning, I had gotten capsaicin that was like a cream, and when I would use it, I didn't realize that this stuff is made out of chili peppers. So if you don't wear gloves when you put it on, when you go to take a shower or rub your eyes, oh my gosh, it burns really bad. So just to be warned for that. Yeah, this one luckily is like has like a little, you can just rub it, This one works really good. This one is just 15%. I don't know if you can see it or not, but it's just like a 15% of capsaicin. So I know that they can give it to you, I think, at the pharmacy. The doctor can write you a prescription for it. But this one from CVS or whatever, they work pretty good. It's kind of expensive, but it works. I tried to go back to work. I still couldn't walk. Like, walking was almost impossible. It was burning and pain. It was pretty terrible. I went to work, and I couldn't, even though I sit, because I'm a secretary at work, even though I sit, it was really hard. It burned. I couldn't get comfortable. I couldn't walk. Like, I had to buy special shoes, because you just can't wear any shoes when your feet are on fire all the time. So I couldn't work. Like, I just couldn't do it. The pain was so bad. And then walking to my car, oh my gosh, just when I got off of work, it was an impossible task. So I checked back into the emergency room because I needed to get a note because I couldn't work. So the doctor that I saw, one of my coworkers, of course, she put me on gabapentin. Now this stuff is what helped me. I'm not sure if it helps everyone, but oh my gosh, I don't know why they didn't put me on that from the beginning. So if you're going through this and they're just not really treating you, they're just giving you oral steroids and you feel like it's not working, capsaicin, yes, this is a must for your feet. The gabapentin is also, this is a must. Like, oh my gosh, it really slows down the brain activity, but it helps so much. The pain, it helps so much with the pain. The pain is insanely terrible. I was out for probably a month from work before I started gabapentin, and that it helps tremendously. This one is 300 milligrams. I take 2 in the morning, 2 in the evening, and 2 at night. I was doing that for about 3 months, and I thought, I'm like, I don't know why I'm taking this. I'm like, it's not helping. I don't think anymore. Like, I think I'm finally getting better. So I completely like just quit taking it one day. I was like, I don't think I need it anymore. So I went to the grocery store. I think it was day 2 without it, and all of a sudden the pain just hit again. Oh my God. My feet hurt so bad. My legs hurt so bad I could barely walk. I just can't believe how much gabapentin really, really helps with the nerve pain. So I'm on that. I went back to the neurologist and he told me that I was probably going to have to take that forever because it's scarring on my, there's a scar on my nerves. So it's not ever going to get better. Like, it's going to be like this forever. So walking is challenging. I don't really have a lot of feeling in my legs and my feet, so I kind of get nervous that I'm going to cut myself or that I'm going to bleed and that I'm not going to notice. Like, it's really embarrassing. I lose my balance a lot because I can't really feel my feet. So, I fall a lot. So I get nervous going out, like walking my dog or whatever, thinking if I fall, I don't want people coming to be like, oh my God, are you okay? Let me help you. I don't want any of that attention. So, I stay at home a lot. I finally just went to the doctor again. It's been a year because my gabapentin was going to run out because I just graduated from neurology. Yay! So I went to the doctor and she started me on physical therapy, which was really great because the neurologist should have had me on physical therapy from the beginning. My learning to walk and all that again was really hard. So yeah, and then going to physical therapy, they just give you the tools that you need to help you learn how to live, your new life and all of a sudden how it is. So yeah, I just wanted to make this video. I felt like I wanted to share, hopefully with other people that are newly diagnosed, if you have the similar symptoms as me, I do take also a vitamin B12 every day and with a folic acid, which is supposed to help with the myelin sheath around, your nerve to grow back again. So I've been taking that for about a year. I'll probably take it for another year, maybe longer. I just wanted to throw some support out there for other people that have transverse myelitis and let them know that, it's going to be a hard road to recovery, and that is if it, hopefully you can get back to where I am, where I'm walking. I know some people can't even walk anymore afterwards, and it's very, very difficult. So please comment if you want. I'll try and help you with whatever I can.